All right. So thank you for being here to chat about marketing. That's my jam as much as it is for Glenn. So we love talking about this kind of stuff. I'm super excited to introduce him. Glenn is not only my industry colleague and partner in crime for marketing, but he's also my friend. We've known each other for a few years, and so I was super stoked to be asked to do this. So just in case you don't know him, I'm going to give him a proper introduction here. Glenn Clark is a brand strategist, a designer, and the founder of Crafting a Brand, a branding and creative services consultancy in the Finger Lakes region of New York State. Crafting a Brand helps beverage producers think beyond their beverage and build long-lasting strategies to differentiate their products in today's crowded marketplace. Crafting a Brand produces engaging brand communication tactics like packaging, labels, logos, photography, video, and more that help consumers understand what's special and unique about your beer brand. Glenn has worked at ad agencies in Boston, Syracuse, and Rochester, and in 2001 he played an integral role in launching the Vine Design Studios, to service Constellation brands at the Partners Plus Napier agency in Rochester. Glenn started his first marketing firm in 2003, and in March 2018, he rebranded as Crafting a Brand to serve clients exclusively within the beverage industry. And Glenn is going to chat with us today about how to thrive in trying times, effective marketing strategies for 2024, and then we're going to wrap things up with Q&A, but help me to welcome Mr. Glenn Clark.
Who saw the pretzel bag? The pretzel bag. Thank you. The pretzel bag serves many purposes. Okay, so in marketing our brew, we have to stand out, right? We have to get noticed. So this was a way to get noticed. This was marketing for my seminar. Free pretzel sign upstairs, so my brand was out there for everybody to see. On the back, I had a 2 o'clock poster for my session. On the inside, hang on, let's do a little demo here. You guys know there's like a Cracker Jack prize inside of this? Yes, there is. On the inside, I'm just shameless. On the inside, there's a QR code. So I have a newsletter called 3 Things Every Thursday. I've been doing it for years. Took a little break. It's coming back after the conference. So this says subscribe to my newsletter. There's a QR code. But that's a hard-working bag of pretzels, isn't it? That's how you need to think about your brewery marketing. But wait, before I get that, cheers to all of you for operating a brewery in trying times. That's what we're going to talk about today. Before we do that, let's talk about the good old days. Right? The good old days, not that long ago, right? If you build a brewery, Kevin Costner said, if you build a brewery, they will come. I don't know if you saw that version of the movie. He did say that in the director's cut. So I'll start, and I don't like to just sit up here and talk. So I want some audience participation. I want to hear from some of you how you first fell in love with craft beer. I'll tell you my story. So after I graduated from college, I moved to Boston, and I was waiting tables at a place in Faneuil Hall called Chatham's Corner, next to Black Rose. Maybe you've been there. Black Rose might still be there. And we were setting up for lunch one day, and some guy came around, and he was throwing out table tents. And we're all trying to set up, and he's messing up our tables and everything. And I said, excuse me, sir, can I help you? He said, yeah. He said, he ran over, and he shook my hand. He said, hey, I'm Jim Koch. I sell a beer called Sam Adams. Will you help me sell it? And he gave me another stack of table tents. He was literally, this was 1990, walking around. Did I say Sam Koch? I said, not Jim Koch. He was walking around putting Sam Adams table tents at restaurants at lunchtime, hustling his beer. That was my first craft beer. Serenade came right after that. But who else has a story about their first craft beer? Chris.
When I moved into my college dorm, my parents helped move me in. And after they said that they would be foolish to think that I was going off to college and I wasn't going to drink. And so they said, we would rather you drink something good than pay $40 for a 12-pack of Michelob in a parking lot of a 7-Eleven. And so every single week, they would stop by to take me out to breakfast on Saturday. And then they would take me to a local beer store that specialized in nothing but imports, and at the time, the earliest of craft back in the 90s. And I could get a case of whatever I wanted. And so I learned to drink on craft instead of all the rest of the stuff.
It's good parenting. Who else? Who else has an early favorite craft beer?
So, went to a college party, and it was bring your favorite beer. Of course, you walk in and there's people with, like Utica Club and Jenny, the green label Jenny's, and it's just like, it's trash college beer. And a couple of people walked in with,
Delicious, inexpensive Jenny beer, yes.
Anyway, so, and a couple of guys walked in with what I found out was the first rebrand of Three Philosophers. Not the old label, but like the 2010, 2012 label. I said, what the heck is that? I mean, I know what Jenny is, I know what Utica Club is. What's that? And it just, that kind of like, the interest peaked and
Yeah.
we went.
Exciting times, right? So here's some data. This is 1976, 103 breweries. 2021, 9,247 breweries, right? This was the boom, and I'm pretty sure most everybody here, right? The heyday right here, right? The golden days. And then what happened? Right? I'm sorry, we're here to talk about pain a little bit. We're here to talk a little bit about pain. It's like a movie. If you go to a movie, nobody gets shot. What good is the movie, right? There needs to be some danger. Openings per year, closures per year. We're going to peak right about here in 2014. And then we can see it decline. We can look at closures per year. We can see somewhat flat. Goes up a little bit, down a little bit. Still breweries opening, but we look at 2023, 420 openings, 385 closings. Art Watson, the primary culprits, and we all know this, slowing demand growth, competition from across bev alcohol, in a retail environment marked by declining draft sales and reduced shelf space. So why is this happening? Why is this happening? A couple of reasons. Let's talk about them. Number one, our most important audience is really our next audience. Right? Our current customers aren't going to be around forever. We need to think about our next audience. Who's going to be in our tap room 10 years from now? Unfortunately, these youngsters, Gen Z, 20-somethings, Gen Z's drinking habits are killing concerts. Gen Z, young adults in the U.S. are drinking less than in prior decades. Decline in regular drinking among younger adults. Drinkers and U.S. adults since 2001, -6 points. All U.S. adults, 18 to 34, down 11 points. 55 and older love to drink. Cheers. Cheers. And this is true, you all know this. Look around your tap room any given Saturday afternoon, right? It's not a bunch of kids. So there is some truth to this. It is an older audience. Young U.S. adults cut back. 18 to 34, since 01-03, minus 1.6. Average number of alcoholic drinks consumed in the past 7 days. I'm sorry. 03, 5.2, 2021, 3.6. Trend is down 1.6 drinks. Why are younger people drinking less? A few reasons. One of them, it's okay to smoke marijuana now. It's legal. It's socially acceptable. It achieves the same effect as having a drink for some people. Younger people are really into improving their health. All of this is good. When they don't drink, they report that they're better able to cope with daily stress. They feel better physically and mentally. They save money, more readily manage their weight, and they avoid hangovers. Anecdotally, I have a 23-year-old daughter who fits this profile to a T. Is that right, Chloe?
It's not me.
It is not you.
It's my sister.
Anyone know Dana Frank, First Avenue Productions, Minneapolis? Runs a bunch of nightclubs. Big trend we're seeing, Gen Z doesn't drink as much. They're either eating edibles before they come, or they're simply more of a sober mental health focus. But wait, there's more. Hits keep coming. Dry January, Sober Curious, rising popularity of non-alcoholic beverages, right? All coming down upon us. 25%, holy cow, 25% of Americans participated in Dry January this year. And 65% of 21 to 24-year-olds. I'm sorry, 35% of 21 to 24-year-olds. Most of them report, and this is all from various surveys, they're not going back to their prior consumption habits. I plan to return to my normal drinking habits, 28%. I plan to drink less, 37%. I plan to stop drinking alcohol altogether, 35%. General population. So people are trying Dry January and they're like, hey, that felt pretty good. I'm going to keep doing that. Or at the least, I'm going to curb my alcohol consumption. They're in the beer business. Kind of a problem. Sober Curious. Another new buzzword. More consumers are abstaining. More than 75% of Americans say they've given up alcohol for at least a month. Half of the drinkers are trying to curb their consumption. 52% of them are opting for non-alcoholic. Pop quiz named the 13th largest brewery in the United States. Hint, it has everything to do with what we're talking about. Right there above FX Matt Brewing Company, 13th largest brewery in the country. Country doesn't make alcoholic beer. It's interesting. Who knew that? I didn't know that. That was news to me. It's a big deal. I had no idea. Bart posted just yesterday on Twitter. Interesting to watch NA beer patterns evolve over time. In scan, January share shift was much larger this year compared to last year. So there's 23, there's 24. Enough bad news, right? Enough bad news. Anyone else want to share any anecdotes or thoughts on that?
That last chart was a bit concerning.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what age range is that? That's the 21 to 24, mostly that's doing the,
No, that is all consumers. I'm sorry, sales. That's all sales. Not broken down by age.
because I'm thinking once the younger ones decide to have kids, they'll go back.
There you go. That's it. That's it.
There's the loophole.
They'll go straight to Berlin. Straight to Berlin.
Yeah. All right, good news. Here we go. In my opinion, there's never been a better time to grow your business by differentiating your brewery, branding, and marketing more effectively. Okay? For one, there are fewer of them. There are fewer breweries to compete with. But in my experience, not everyone puts a lot of thought or strategy behind how they get out in front of their consumers. So we're going to talk about a few things here. How you can differentiate your brewery and how you can market more effectively. All right, marketing, this is kind of a marketing overall principle. Regardless of what you're selling, you can't market effectively without knowing who your consumers are and what they want. Okay? When you're marketing, you're solving a problem. I'm not getting enough people in my door. You can't solve the problem if you don't know who you're talking to. And you need to know a little bit about what they want, what they're looking for. So you need to look around your tap room and who's in there and ask yourself, why did they come here? How can I get them to come back? And you get them to come back by giving them things that they want. For example, how will you appeal to her? How will you appeal to a 31-year-old millennial? She has different wants and needs than, say, a boomer or a family with kids. She goes to the gym 4 times a week. She always seeks out healthy food. She'll pay more for products that are sustainable or better for the environment. And she's likely to be looking for an NA alternative for her third beverage. I'm going to show you a few different examples here. You can literally look at every person in your tap room and ask yourself, what does that person want? I promise you, if you do that over and over again, better yet, if you build a spreadsheet for it, and you start really getting a handle on why people showed up and what they're looking for, I guarantee you'll get more traffic. I promise your business will perform better. Let's look at this dude here. I just hate this dude. Does anybody know him? He was a Bright Vibes. He's a real person, actually. I took that picture. Nobody knows him? Loves non-traditional beers. Travels with friends. That's good. He brings other people with him to spend their money. He's going to purchase a 4-pack when he leaves. We know that this guy always jumps on Instagram and posts about his experience. He loves to go to festivals, and he's not crazy about kids. So you can literally go down the list, and maybe kind of cool if your brewery actually attracts a single demographic. It actually makes your job easier because you only have to. If your brewery is full of this guy right here, you're going to get creative with your beer list. This guy probably loves a bunch of hazies. You're going to have a bunch of hazies. You're going to make your signage and takeout process and your cooler easier to get to. And you're going to put up signage to promote to-go beer because you know that your audience loves to do that. You're going to help them post about their experiences on Instagram by putting QR codes up around your tap room. You're going to participate in festivals and invite all these customers to come check you out at the festival. And they don't like kids, so you're not going to be a kid-friendly brewery.
Yeah.
sometimes you have to make decisions too. As a marketer, sometimes you have to make decisions. If you know, if you've got 100 of these guys and one family shows up once in a while, you're probably going to make a decision to focus on not turning people away, but creating an environment that's going to appeal to this guy. The worst case you can be as a brewery, as a marketer, is to have to appeal to all people. Good news is you have a bunch of different kinds of people coming in, so you've got more people showing up. It's harder to market to them because you got to provide all sorts of different products and all sorts of different kinds of experiences. "59-year-old boomers." Hey, I know that guy. It's not me. That's familiar. I know. My wife and I do this. We ride our bikes on weekends. I have no disposable income. We always look for live music. We choose where we're going based on every Friday. We look up our 3 or 4 favorite places. Who's playing, right? That matters to us. There are people that care about that. We enjoy lower ABV beers, and we will travel and make an overnight to go visit some breweries. All right? So if that's your audience, what are you going to do with your operations, your social media, your signage, to appeal to that audience? Open a spreadsheet and start doing this. Oh, grandson. Young families, holy cow. This other half in the room right now, I know Edgar's next door. This is not a dig at all. We go to other half, we actually don't go to other half Bloomfield on Saturday afternoon. If you do go to other half Bloomfield on Saturday afternoon in the summertime, there are literally as many kids as adults. It is definitely a kid-friendly environment. I'm not judging that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You need to look at that as your brewery owner. If you're that kid-friendly brewery, and you need to cater to that, right? So this family here, these parents, they're seeking kid-friendly venues. They want, this actually appeals to everybody. Please, please, I promise you, figure out how to make, when I walk into the brewery, to make me feel welcome. I should make this, I'm going to make a slide just for that. How many times have you walked into a brewery and not felt welcome, or not felt greeted, or asked about what kind of beer do you have? Tell me about that beer. I don't know, I just work here on weekends. That's huge. Experience is huge. Changing room is a plus. This couple loves good food, and they enjoy meeting other parents. So you could go on and on. I'm done with that exercise. Figure out who's coming into your tap room, what's your audience, and then cater everything that you do with your marketing to appeal to those people. The fewer types of people come into your tap room, you can really focus that. If you get visitors of all kinds, you're going to have to figure out how to appeal to all of them. Like 30-year-old hazy guy who doesn't like kids, and then families with kids are like opposing. You might have that problem, but you have to appeal to both audiences. All right, number 2, you can't market it. Okay, we talked about knowing your audience. You also can't market effectively without knowing your own goals and what you want. So ask yourself the important questions. This is like big picture stuff, right? You opened up a small business. I'll jump right to the bottom. How does that end? Right? Do you have an exit strategy? And if your exit strategy is no, we're going to keep doing this forever, that's great. So you can start working around that. Yeah, we want to sell this thing in 10 years. Great, you can start working around that. All of these give you a framework as to how to run your operations. Why did you start your brewery? What are you proud of? What do you need to work on? Right? Take a workshop with your team, get some pizza and beers, and talk about openly, what aren't we doing well? What could we do better? Keep track of all this stuff. Spreadsheets are your friend. Marketing conversations happen over and over again, across the bar, in the brew house, whatever. They don't do any good because they don't go anywhere. You need to keep track of the conclusions you've reached. You need to keep track of what you need to work on. You need to, and you need to execute on that and measure it. How is your brewery different? Is 42 North in the house? John Sipperman?
I haven't seen anyone here.
Cleveland Prost, P-R-O-S-T, you guys know Will Cleveland. He publishes a great little blog called the Cleveland Prost. I highly recommend that you subscribe to that. I grabbed this, he quoted John. For 42 North, stay true to our principles of quality, authenticity, and collaborating with our community. We have grown slow and steady over the past 8 years, and there's no need to venture off course. That's kind of cool. That's one sentence that sort of encapsulates how they see the world when they wake up every day. Quality, not so much. I wouldn't try to compete on that. I think that's a given. But authenticity and collaborating with our community are their principles, as is slow and steady growth. How important is that? If you can take that pressure off of yourself and say, we don't need to triple our sales in the next 3 years, we need to raise them by X%. Metrics and goals and measurements. He mentioned authentic. What does it mean to be authentic? I'll tell you a story. Anybody know where that is? Zach, you better know. What is it?
I'm gonna let somebody else.
It could be any small town in New York. Honey Falls. I live in Honey Falls. I used to have an office. First started my business, I opened an office and there was construction going on right here. Plywood in the windows and all that. I walked in, introduced myself, told him what I did. I said, I'm your neighbor. He's like, you're a designer. He said, it's got my logo designed. He said, would you give me your opinion of it? I said, sure. So we went to the back room, and this is before cell phones, so it was a piece of foam core with a cover sheet. Maybe you remember that, like the unveiling, right? And I knew whatever he showed me, he loved it. That's what he wanted me to tell him, that I loved it too. He said, will you tell me what you think of my logo? And he unveiled it. Main Street Coffee Shop. Ready? It's for real.
Gummy worm.
MS Paint. Really? Right? Yeah. There were issues. The name, for starters, right? If one reason that you brand is to differentiate yourself, every town has a Main Street coffee shop. Could there be a more generic name? More importantly, you're asking people to put this stuff in their mouth, coffee and food and stuff, right? You want them to ingest it, and you're showing them that. Would you trust that? Would you even walk in the door? My God. There's a rainbow, there's fonts, there's the condensed tool. This is, we've got a military font, we have brush script up here, some bad colors, some starbursts.
Can you talk about the rainbow in the background with the cup of coffee?
I can't, but I can tell you, the story continues with the cow. Okay? Let me keep going. The story continues.
And there's two sides.
All right, so Chris, I wanted to help him, but I didn't want to insult him and tell him how bad his logo was. Chris, tell me, how did you get into this business? He said, I work in sales for a tool and die company. It's family owned, but I've always wanted to open up a coffee shop, but not just any coffee shop. My wife is an expert in this farm-to-table organic space. She's written books about it. She sits on the governor, whoever the governor was at that time, the governor's panel for organic foods in New York State. We hired a chef from Colorado. We're going to make the most awesome food, and we're going to have coffees brought in from all over the world. And we've got this menu It's just insane. Honey Falls has never had anything like this before. It's so much more than a coffee shop. And the best part is, we've got a farm outside of town, we've got chickens and goats and pigs, we've got cows. Cow? We're going to serve dairy products from our 2 cows at the coffee shop. He wasn't telling that story, was he? Right? This is branding, right? Telling your story. What's your story? He wasn't telling that story. They weren't Main Street Coffee Shop. They were 2 Cows Coffee and Farm Market. And wasn't that kind of magical when you drove down Main Street in Honey Falls and saw that old-fashioned sign and the materials and the iron and the lettering and the cows, and it made me think about my grandmother's house when I was a little kid, right? You could just smell that coffee and the baked goods and everything that was printed just felt so special, really focused on all those details. That's what it means to be authentic. That's what it means to create a brand that's different and stands apart. Right? How many breweries are within a 10-mile radius of yours? How is yours different? How is yours different? And are you telling your story in a way that catches people's attention, that they relate to? They saw that and they just wanted to be a part of it. It was a huge success. And then a year later, there was a knock on my office door, and I opened, he was standing there with that big sign. He was holding it. I said, "What happened? What are you doing?" And he said, "My wife and I had no idea how much work it was to run a coffee shop. Shut it down." That's a true story. That wasn't my fault, so it was a success when I was involved. So figure out how you can be different and commit to it. This is an old map, and I don't need, what's happening here? Wow, that's an old map. It's going to just look quickly because it's going to go away. I guess I don't need to tell you, you're surrounded by competitors, and you have to figure out how you want to be different. Here's 3 ways a business can stand out. I'm sorry, I should use beer examples, I didn't. Number 1, a price strategy, be the highest or lowest price brand. I think in this audience, we probably have some people working on a higher premium pricing strategy. Probably, hopefully, no who's in the lowest price strategy here in the room. Second way your business can stand out or differentiate is the marketing term. An innovation strategy. You become known for always providing new or first-of-a-kind products. And I know that it's getting harder and harder to be innovative, to produce something innovative in the beer space. But think beyond your liquid and think about how you can be innovative in your tap room, how can you be innovative in your guest experience. Third, a differentiation strategy. Find a unique way to express your brand so that consumers can easily position it in their minds. So we all know that these are the same things, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, right? They're both essentially the same thing. We don't confuse them. We put Starbucks over here, we put Dunkin' Donuts over here. And we never confuse the two. Same product. Their brands are positioned so differently. How is your brand positioned? You're selling the same thing as your neighbor. You're both selling beer. How can you position your brand, your tap room, to be different than your neighbors? If consumers can't do that, if they can't in their own mind figure out what you're all about, you're out of luck. You need to know what you're all about. And then you need to execute on that. That's the one right there. That's where most every business is playing right there. How can I be different? Let's look at wine. Let's look at New York State wine, your neighbors. Dr. Frank's, right? They have absolutely unique brand. You're familiar with it, I think, maybe? Dr. Konstantin Frank brought vines from Germany, planted them on the hillsides of Hammondsport above Cuba Lake. Nobody had ever done that before. They thought he was crazy. Now they make some of the best Rieslings in the world, however, 80 years later. They differentiate themselves with that history story. When I walk in there, I'm going to see black and white photos, antique photos on the wall, and I'm going to hear all about their history over and over again. I am not confusing them with anybody else. They all sell wine along Keeper Lake. I get that. I'm not confused. Just down the street, what's the next door neighbor? Anyone know? Bully Hill. Could not be more different. Could not be more successful either. Incredibly successful winery. Couldn't be more different in terms of product. It's a sweet dessert wine for the most point. Price point, they're way, way down at the bottom. Dr. Frank is way up there. What a great example of two next door neighbors positioning themselves in such a way that consumers get what they're all about. How cool is that? Pascal Brooks, out west, anyone know that story? When he was 8 years old, his dad, Jimmy Brooks, died unexpectedly. Willed the winery to his 8-year-old son. Legally willed the winery to his son. It remained his mom, and Pascal ran it. I don't know if she's still alive, but became a very successful winery based on family history. And that tragic story that is ultimately a very interesting story about an 8-year-old boy who was given a winery. That's a family story. That's a point of differentiation. One more. Anybody know the Hardys, Colleen and Sebastian? Hardy wine family, you've heard of that? One of the largest wineries in Australia, maybe the largest winery in all of Australia. He came to New York State and married Colleen, who grew up in the Finger Lakes. They opened Living Roots Winery, and guess what the brand is all about? Finger Lakes meet Australia. Four examples of wineries that did a fantastic job at finding something they could own. How many breweries out there are just the same, not differentiated? There are many. So your challenge is to figure out what are we all about? What's our story? What's our two cows? And how are we going to express that in a way that people care about and remember? Strategy number 4, your time, money, and marketing resources are limited. So simple. Open up a spreadsheet, have a written marketing plan. Most people don't. Super oversimplified here, but these are the basics. Your business objective, open it up in January, or open it up on March 22nd. These are our business objectives this year. Budget is super important. This is how much money we're willing to spend on our marketing. These are the tactics that we're going to execute on. This is who's going to do it. We're going to assign responsibilities. If it's a brewery with 3 employees, all 3 of you can share it. If you've got 15 employees, I guarantee there are things that your weekend bartenders can help out with in terms of marketing tactics, social media, photography, all the ways that you reach out to consumers. Figure out what success looks like, put numbers against it, execute and monitor. So important here. This is another one that never happens. I beg of people, and I know it doesn't happen. We have great marketing meetings, and then we break up, and nobody ever gets together. Meet once a month. Keep everybody motivated. Keep everybody on track. You have to, this doesn't run on autopilot. I might look for time. 43. I need to sit here. Think like an entertainment company. Not that long ago, but back in the day, we could think about people coming in just for our beer. CB Craft Brewers was my local Honeywell Falls brewery. Zach, how many brewers when CB's open were there in Monroe County?
One.
Robox?
That was this Robox was the first, they were the second.
Yeah. So back in the day, it was set up, right, like Field of Dreams, right? Build it, they will come. Doesn't happen anymore. We're in the entertainment business. It's crazy. Think like an entertainment company. Think about your customers. They want to be greeted and treated like friends, like the Walt Disney hello greeting. Wegmans greeting. Wegmans is very serious about customer training. I think if you go to Wegmans, you feel a little bit of love coming back at you, right? They want experiences, right? They want stuff. You have to have a constant menu of things happening in your tap room. Entertainment. Can I call you guys out? Talk about your open mic night, Derek and Kristen.
Yeah, so we started a music program about a year ago. Years ago, yeah. It was back a little bit. But one of our local musicians also does sound for a lot of local bands, and he lives within spitting distance of the brewery. And we were talking one night over a beer, and he's like, "Hey, you want to do an open mic night?" I'm like, "Sure, let's put it together." So we picked to do 2 nights a month. Put it out there, a month beforehand for the first event, and it blew up. Now, Bobby, our main bartender, can tell you we get feedback. We're probably the biggest open mic night within 3 or 4 counties. And all the musicians are coming in and telling us that if they want to play for a crowd for an open mic, they're coming to the brewery to do it. We've had, I don't know if anybody knows who Manowar is, 80s heavy metal band, but they showed up one night just to hang out. So if you do it, I feel like we were kind of dumb luck with it, but if you can figure out a way to pull it off and put it in front of people, it works. People love it. The first couple of weeks were packed with musicians. The last week it was a slower open mic night for us, but for the first time we probably had more customers in the room just there to watch open mic than there was musicians in the room to play for open mic.
Well, I mean, for perspective, we have 8-year-old kids getting up playing whatever instrument they just learned how to play for a song. And then we have 85-year-old Beverly that comes in and she's going to play a tune and she's playing right along, and mind you, she's phenomenal. And then she's like, does something wrong, she's like, oops, and continues on. Like, she grabs the audience with no problem. Then we have the professional musicians that are no longer touring or whatever, just showing up to be like, hey, we just want to hang out in a cool spot because we just, we don't want to haul equipment around anymore. We just need to have everything there and ready to go. So
I think the point back to what I was going with this is Thursday nights for us they're fine. They did okay. Now Thursday nights you can't get into our building. If you're not there 20, 30 minutes before open mic night starts, until the weather breaks and we can open the doors and put it outside, we go back, but you can't get in.
So open mic nights, not incredibly innovative. They're not new. They work really well for Derek and Kristen's brewery. They might not work so well for you for whatever reason. What else can you do? You can't just say nothing, right? You need to think like an entertainment company and think about what kind of programming am I going to put in here on a slow Thursday night to fill this place up, or half fill it, or whatever. Take your slowest day, your slowest night, and figure out what kind of entertainment are you going to put in there. Brewbag, alternative to people, as you know, craft beer consumers love new stuff. They love different stuff. Brewbag was here last year. It's a spin on cornhole, right? And Scott does Brewbag leagues. That's kind of different. Something as simple as trivia night. Again, not innovative, not new, but figure out what's not happening around you and plug that in. Creative beverages, they want NA options. Dial off your NA options. Dial off your NA beer signage. Make people feel welcome. Don't shake so that they don't feel shamed to order an NA beer if that's what they choose. And they want you to be a constant presence in their social media feeds. I'm winding up here, folks. I did a whole presentation on this last year. I have the slides if you want to see it. I'll touch briefly. I would say to you that the most powerful marketing tool you have is your email list. Look what happened when Facebook went down for 4 hours last week. Actually, twice last month, went down for 4 hours. Everybody freaked out. What happens when it goes down for 4 days? You know that's coming. Or when it shuts down entirely and goes away, like Twitter almost did. Right? I'm a huge Twitter user. There was a time 6 months ago, people were like, nice knowing you all. Where can I find you when this goes down? Because it could have gone down. It will sooner or later. These social media channels. Your email list you own. You choose when to reach out to your consumers. How often do you check your email? Once a day, raise your hands. Who only checks her once a day? Once a day, for real? Seriously, Chris, once a day?
No.
Oh. Yeah? All right. Anybody stay away from their email and check it like just twice a day? Really? Mornings?
That's why you text me.
Right. Once an hour. Who checks it once an hour? All right. 5 times an hour.
Jesus Christ, there we go. That's more like it.
Who's checking their email right now? Who's on their email right now? Done. That's my point, right? And you didn't check Facebook all day, but you're at a conference, right? You're checking your business email. Pretty much everyone has an email account. Everybody's checking it. Projected number of email users, 4.37 2023, 4.85 billion globally 2027. Email is not going away. It's not the social media flavor of the day. People are far more likely to open your email than engage with social media. Compared to email, social media falls flat. Engagement, social media, 0.58%. Open rate email, 22%. Hello. Click-through, 3.7%. We do an email every single Friday for Luck and Hammer. We're doing one after the session. I haven't done it yet. We're going to do one. People know it's coming. They expect it. They want to know what's happening at the brewery this weekend. They open it up. They engage with it. I'm not going to go through all these. I have this slide. I can send it to you. I will just say to you, you can make shitty email. There's such a thing. You have to put some effort into it. People won't read bad emails. Take a picture of that, or I can send you the entire deck on that slideshow. Final takeaway. This is it. I'm running out of time here. Some big picture thoughts. Obviously, number one, delivering quality beer is, and not the most, is an important factor in your success. However, your long-term success relies on your ability to make a lasting impression and to stay connected with your customers. The breweries that are deliberate, they do the work, they open the spreadsheet, they meet with their teams once a month, they measure it, they pay attention to it, not just in January, but all the time, build marketing into your operations, you will achieve a higher degree of success and longevity. I added a slide from Fred Matt yesterday. I was at a session, he said something that really struck me. I got to tell him I added a slide with his picture on it. I thought this was great. And he was talking about distribution and the perils of distribution and the $7 pint that you sell out of your wall, and how awesome that $7 pint is. Delight the customer in your tap room. Delight the customer, always innovate. That's everything we just talked about. It's everything we just talked about. Know who that customer is. Make them happy. Get creative about how you get them coming back. My name is Glenn. I provide expertise to breweries in 3 areas. Number 1, brand strategy and planning. Number 2, design and creative services, kind of my sweet spot. I don't get into a lot of this. think you know I know how to do this. I don't sell the marketing service. Julie does back there. Julie Rose, Colorado, has clients all over the country. That's what I do. I have a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. It's called 3 Things Every Thursday. Some of you get it. I'll leave that up there. I'll leave it up there in the next slide too. That's my social, email, web, phone. Thank you very much. Any questions? Comments? I know I threw so much information out there. I try to keep it organized. Any questions? There's got to be a question.
I just want to say I still miss Pete's Wicked Ale.
Yeah, right. That was another pioneer. Wasn't he here? I had him somewhere. Was he here a couple years ago?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it.